Picture a typical Tuesday afternoon. You're sitting in your favorite chair, reading or watching television. You stand up to get a glass of water, and for just a moment, the room tilts. Your balance wavers. But within seconds, it passes. You steady yourself, dismiss it as nothing, and move on with your day. This moment, so brief, so seemingly insignificant, might be your body trying to tell you something important. I'm Dr. Naira Stein, and for over 3 decades, I've worked with older adults navigating the complexities of cardiovascular health. What I've learned is that strokes rarely arrive without warning. They build quietly through small habits repeated over years, habits that seem perfectly harmless until you understand what's happening beneath the surface. Today, I want to walk you through several everyday behaviors that can quietly increase stroke risk after 70. Not to frighten you, but to give you awareness. Because what you notice early, you still have the power to change. Stay with me, and by the end, you'll understand your body in ways that can truly protect your future. Many people over 70 believe stroke risk comes down to luck or genetics. If no one in the family has had a stroke, it's easy to assume you're safe. Others feel reassured because they take their medications faithfully, check their blood pressure, and try to eat reasonably well. Most days, they feel fine. So when stroke comes up in conversation, it feels distant, like something that happens to other people who are sicker or less careful. This belief is very common, and it's completely understandable. The challenge is that stroke risk doesn't usually announce itself clearly. It doesn't arrive with pain or obvious warning signs that demand attention. Instead, it builds quietly in the background through daily routines that feel completely harmless. Most of these habits aren't mistakes in the usual sense. They're things you do without thinking. Things that once didn't matter much but begin to carry more weight after 70. This is why many seniors are genuinely surprised when doctors mention increased stroke risk later in life. They don't feel unwell. They haven't changed dramatically. Yet something has shifted beneath the surface. Blood vessels become less flexible with age. The brain grows more sensitive to changes in blood flow, and the margin for error becomes narrower over time. What once had little impact can slowly place extra strain on your system, not enough to cause immediate problems, but enough to increase risk gradually. This doesn't mean stroke is inevitable, and it certainly doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It means your body has changed, even if daily life feels the same. And habits that were once neutral may now carry more significance than before. Understanding this matters because awareness creates options. When you recognize how everyday behaviors affect long-term brain health, you can make thoughtful adjustments, not drastic changes, not fear-driven decisions, just small shifts that support circulation and protect your brain over time. Stroke is often described as a sudden event. One moment, everything feels normal. The next moment, life changes. But what many people don't realize is that the conditions leading up to stroke usually develop slowly over many years. Inside your body, blood vessels are under constant demand. They expand and contract thousands of times each day, delivering oxygen and nutrients to your brain every second. As we age, these vessels can gradually lose flexibility. Their inner walls may become stiffer. Blood doesn't flow as smoothly as it once did. This process doesn't cause pain. It doesn't create obvious symptoms at first. That's precisely why it's easy to miss. Small disruptions in blood flow may come and go without your notice. Your brain compensates. Your body adapts. However, these small changes can accumulate. Blood flow becomes less efficient. Pressure on vessel walls increases, and your brain becomes more vulnerable to sudden interruptions in oxygen supply. This is why stroke risk often rises quietly after 70. Not because something suddenly breaks, but because the system has been under strain for a long time. What makes this especially challenging is that your brain is extraordinarily sensitive to reduced blood flow. Even brief interruptions can have serious consequences. Yet before a major event occurs, your body often sends subtle signals. Moments of dizziness, brief confusion, changes in balance. These signals are easy to ignore because they pass quickly, but they're often early signs that your system is struggling. Understanding that stroke risk builds gradually changes how we approach prevention. It's not about one dramatic mistake. It's about the accumulation of small habits over time. That's why examining everyday behaviors is so valuable, because when habits are recognized early, there's often an opportunity to reduce strain and support your brain before serious damage occurs. Let me walk you through several specific habits, starting with one that many seniors don't even realize they've developed. Spending long periods sitting is one of the most common patterns among older adults. It doesn't come from laziness. It comes from comfort, routine, or caution. After 70, many people move less to avoid pain, fatigue, or dizziness. Sitting feels safe, rest feels sensible, and over time, sitting becomes the default position. The issue isn't sitting itself, it's how long your body stays still. When you sit for extended periods, blood flow slows, especially in your lower body. Your muscles aren't contracting enough to help push blood back toward your heart. This causes blood to pool in your legs and places extra strain on your circulatory system. Over time, this reduced movement affects how blood vessels respond. They become less flexible, less responsive to changes in position. For your brain, this matters. When circulation becomes less efficient overall, your system has a harder time adjusting quickly. This can increase stress on blood vessels and contribute to gradual changes that raise stroke risk. What makes this habit tricky is that it feels harmless. Sitting doesn't hurt. Rest seems wise. But long stretches of inactivity can quietly reduce circulation, increase stiffness in blood vessels, and affect how your body regulates blood pressure. Many seniors don't realize how little movement they're getting in a day, standing up less often, walking shorter distances, avoiding stairs or uneven ground. These small changes accumulate. The encouraging news is that addressing this doesn't require intense exercise. It's not about workouts or pushing your body hard. Simple movement makes a real difference. Standing up regularly, walking for a few minutes, gently activating your leg muscles throughout the day. These small actions help keep blood moving and reduce the strain that builds when your body stays still too long. Not drinking enough water is another very common habit among seniors, and it often happens without anyone realizing it. As we get older, the sensation of thirst becomes weaker. Your body doesn't signal dehydration as clearly as it once did. So many seniors simply don't feel thirsty, even when their body genuinely needs fluids. Some people also limit water intake intentionally. They want to avoid frequent bathroom trips or worry about bladder control, especially at night. The problem is that even mild dehydration affects circulation. When your body lacks adequate fluid, blood becomes thicker and moves more slowly. This makes it harder for blood to flow smoothly through vessels, especially the smaller ones that supply your brain. Over time, thicker blood places extra strain on your circulatory system. Your heart works harder, blood pressure regulation becomes less stable, and your brain may not receive oxygen as efficiently as it should. This quietly increases stress on blood vessels and contributes to changes that raise stroke risk, not suddenly, but gradually as days and weeks pass. What makes this habit easy to overlook is that dehydration doesn't always feel dramatic. There may be no dry mouth, no strong discomfort, just subtle effects like fatigue, lightheadedness, or slower thinking. Many seniors attribute these feelings to age rather than hydration, so the pattern continues without adjustment. Staying properly hydrated doesn't mean drinking large amounts all at once. It means consistent intake throughout the day. Small amounts taken regularly help maintain healthy blood volume and support circulation. Water does more than just quench thirst. It helps blood flow smoothly, helps regulate blood pressure, and helps your brain respond more effectively to everyday demands. One of the most dangerous habits after 70 is ignoring symptoms because they seem mild or temporary. Many seniors experience small changes and assume they're not important enough to mention or even think about. These signs often come and go, they don't last long, they don't cause pain. Because of that, they're easy to dismiss. Examples include brief dizziness, moments of lightheadedness, short episodes of blurred vision, or a feeling of unsteadiness that resolves within seconds. Some people notice tingling in their hands or feet. Others experience mild confusion that quickly clears. Since these symptoms pass, many seniors tell themselves there's no need to worry. They assume it was fatigue, dehydration, or simply standing up too quickly. The problem isn't any one episode by itself, it's the pattern. Your body often sends early warning signals long before a serious event occurs. These signals are subtle, not meant to cause panic, but to prompt awareness. When blood flow to your brain is briefly reduced, your brain compensates and recovers quickly. But repeated episodes place stress on blood vessels over time. Ignoring these moments allows that stress to continue unnoticed. Your brain adapts, your body adjusts, and risk slowly increases in the background. Many seniors hesitate to bring up these symptoms because they don't want to seem overly concerned, don't want to be told it's just aging, or worry about unnecessary tests. As a result, important information often gets left out of health conversations. What makes this habit especially risky is that early signs are often reversible. When they're noticed and addressed, there's usually an opportunity to reduce strain and improve circulation. But when they're consistently ignored, the underlying issues continue to progress. This doesn't mean every mild symptom points to something serious, and it doesn't mean fear is helpful. It means patterns matter. Paying attention to recurring dizziness, brief visual changes, or repeated balance issues provides valuable insight into how your body is functioning. These signs help identify when your brain may not be receiving blood as efficiently as it should. Awareness doesn't require immediate action or drastic changes. It requires noticing and acknowledging what your body is communicating. By breaking the habit of ignoring mild symptoms, you give yourself a chance to respond early. Early awareness supports better conversations, better decisions, and better outcomes over time. Another everyday habit that quietly increases stroke risk after 70 is assuming nutrition no longer plays a major role. Many seniors believe that if they eat regular meals or take a multivitamin, their needs are automatically covered. The reality is that your body's nutritional needs change with age. Digestion becomes less efficient, absorption slows, and certain nutrients aren't used as effectively as they once were. Your blood vessels and brain tissue rely on ongoing nutritional support to function properly, to maintain flexibility, repair daily wear, and respond to changes in blood flow. When this support is lacking, blood vessels can become stiffer and less responsive over time. This process is gradual, no sudden pain, no obvious warning sign, just a slow reduction in how well your system adapts to stress. Many seniors unknowingly develop low levels of nutrients that support circulation and nerve communication, not because they're careless, but because their body simply doesn't extract or use nutrients the same way after 70. This can affect blood pressure regulation, oxygen delivery to the brain, and how quickly your brain responds to changes in position or activity. What makes this habit especially common is that standard checkups don't always reveal the problem. Blood tests may look acceptable, energy levels may seem normal, yet your brain and blood vessels may still be operating with less support than they need. Another factor is routine. Many seniors continue the same eating patterns they followed decades ago. What once worked well may no longer be enough. This doesn't mean drastic dietary changes are required, and it doesn't mean supplements should be added without guidance. It means nutrition deserves ongoing attention as your body changes. Small adjustments can help support circulation, protect blood vessels, and reduce long-term strain on your brain. Ignoring nutritional support doesn't cause immediate problems. That's why it's easy to overlook. But over years, this habit can quietly contribute to increased stroke risk. Now let me share what might be the most powerful habit of all, the one that quietly prevents many seniors from recognizing risk early and taking meaningful action. It's the belief that changes in your body are simply unavoidable. The idea that feeling weaker, slower, or less steady is just part of getting older. This belief is very common, and it's often reinforced by people around us. Friends say it, family members repeat it, and sometimes even healthcare conversations unintentionally support it. Over time, this belief becomes automatic. When dizziness happens, it's dismissed. When balance feels off, it's ignored. When thinking feels slower, it's accepted without question. The problem isn't aging itself. The problem is assuming that every change is normal and unchangeable. This habit quietly delays awareness. It encourages you to adapt instead of investigate, to work around symptoms instead of understanding them. Many seniors begin adjusting their lives without realizing it. They move more carefully, they avoid certain activities, they limit themselves to what feels safest. These adjustments may reduce discomfort, but they don't reduce underlying strain. Blood vessels continue to stiffen, circulation continues to slow, and your brain continues to work with less support than it needs. What makes this habit especially risky is that it removes urgency. When something is labeled as just aging, it no longer feels worth attention. Yet many age-related changes are influenced by habits, circulation, and support systems that can still be addressed. Not reversed overnight, but supported in meaningful ways. Accepting decline too quickly can prevent you from noticing early warning signs, signs that might otherwise prompt helpful conversations or small adjustments. This doesn't mean fighting age or denying reality. It means staying curious. Curiosity asks questions instead of making assumptions. Curiosity notices patterns instead of dismissing them. When you shift from "this is just how it is" to "why is this happening," you give yourself an opportunity to reduce strain, to protect brain health, and to lower long-term risk. Breaking this habit doesn't require fear or drastic action. It requires awareness and willingness to listen to what your body is saying now, not what it used to say years ago. Recognizing that aging and decline are not the same thing is one of the most important steps toward protecting your health and independence after 70. For many seniors, the word stroke brings up a deep, quiet fear. Not just fear of illness, but fear of what life might look like afterward. The fear of losing independence, of needing help with simple daily tasks, of becoming a burden on family. These thoughts are rarely spoken out loud, but they sit in the background, influencing decisions and behavior. This is why conversations about stroke risk can feel uncomfortable. People worry that paying attention will create anxiety, so they choose not to think about it at all. The problem is that ignoring risk doesn't reduce it. It only delays awareness. At the same time, fear-based decisions can be just as harmful. Making sudden changes, stopping medications without guidance, adding supplements without understanding how your body will respond. This is why balance matters. Reducing stroke risk isn't about panic or extreme measures. It's about thoughtful, steady support for your body over time. Medications prescribed by your healthcare providers should never be stopped or adjusted without professional guidance. They're often essential for managing blood pressure, heart rhythm, or other conditions that affect brain health. Supplements and dietary changes should also be approached carefully. More isn't always better, especially after 70. Your body may respond differently than it did years ago. Paying attention to patterns is one of the safest and most effective steps you can take. Noticing recurring dizziness, changes in balance, moments of confusion, or visual disturbances, these details help guide meaningful conversations with healthcare professionals. Safety also means focusing on prevention in everyday life, standing up slowly, staying hydrated, moving regularly, creating a home environment that reduces fall risk. These actions don't eliminate risk overnight, but they reduce strain on your system and support resilience over time. Understanding stroke risk doesn't mean living in fear. It means living with awareness. Awareness allows you to take responsibility without panic, to make adjustments without extremes, and to protect both your health and independence as you age. When fear is replaced with understanding, you often feel more in control, and that sense of control is one of the most powerful tools you have. Your body is resilient, it responds to care, and the small choices you make today, choosing to move a little more, to drink enough water, to notice patterns, to stay curious about what your body is telling you, these choices accumulate into genuine protection over time. You're not powerless, you're not at the mercy of luck or genetics. You have more influence over your brain health than you might realize, and that's something worth remembering every single day.